Hi, my friend, Stanley here, and it's time for us to be able to sing our favorite song. Are you ready?
I'm definitely ready.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a Stanley can. Spins a web in his mind.
I didn't write those.
Makes a cameo before your eyes.
Then again, I didn't write the song at all.
Look out, here comes a Spider-Lee.
I once swung with Spider-Man in the animated series. Boy, that was fun.
That was fun. And in fact, everybody, let's go ahead and wrap this up with our favorite line. Are you ready? Excelsior!
Excelsior!
There you go. Welcome, everybody, to Draken Shadow Vlogs.
Hey, how about these? They wore them in the X-Men.
They're not red. They didn't wear them.
Awesome!
They weren't red,
I know.
so I didn't wear them. Welcome to this vlog of Spider-Man Homecoming. So the next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has happened, and this is a day that we've been waiting on because, well, Sony owns Spider-Man. And so when we heard rumor that this deal was being struck, a lot of us went, "Ooh!" But it didn't necessarily work out that way, because then we got we had to wait a little while, and then we found out officially that he was going to be in Civil War, and everybody freaked out, and you didn't like the outfit, and
yeah, but
a bunch of things happened up until that point. But yeah, we are here for Spider-Man Homecoming, the next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and thankfully now we can actually say that the wall crawler, at least for 2 movies,
he's home.
He's home. He's with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm very happy about that. But we have a little bit of ground to tread, because we have vlogged about Spider-Man movies before, but only one. Because we did, did we do the original Amazing Spider-Man?
I don't think we did.
No, I think we did Amazing Spider-Man 2. And that's been pretty much it. So for those who are coming brand spanking new, let's bring people up to speed where we stand on it, because I don't think we did that with Amazing Spider-Man 2. Also, welcome to Draken Shadow Vlogs, and in case you guys didn't know this already, we have changed the format just a little bit, and that is we are no longer talking spoilers. So
we're talking spoilers.
We're talking spoilers, but we're not going over plot for plot or plot point for plot point what happened. We're just giving our thoughts and letting it stand at that. So if you were expecting that, I'm sorry, but we've kind of decided, as well as the reactions that we've gotten from like Wonder Woman have said, yeah, this is probably a better format. So let's go ahead and get into this. But first, let's get into a little bit of history. Homecoming is technically the 6th Spider-Man movie we've gotten so far, because we got 3 from Sam Raimi, we got 2 from Mark Webb, or as I like to call it, the Andrew Garfield saga. And now we have Spider-Man Homecoming, which unfortunately the director's name is escaping me, who's actually doing it. But
you got your phone over there, why don't we find out?
Because I don't want to get up, because that'd mess up the chord maze right now. So yeah, we have a brand new one, but it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and has already had the hype set up in Civil War. Well, let's go over the past really quick. So Alex, the first question here, not counting Homecoming, when you walked into this, like, what was your favorite interpretation of Spider-Man? Was it the Raimi films, or was it the Mark Webb films?
It is the Raimi films. Still today, I still loved those movies.
Well, I'm saying like a before and after. So. Yes.
Well, and I still love those movies when they came out. I love them now. I know they're a little cheesy, and a little, gun-ho. The first one especially, gun-ho, patriotic America. It's 2002, is right after 9/11. What do you expect? Yeah. I still love the Sam Raimi films, at least the first 2. The third one is obviously not so good. But Sam Raimi was my favorite walking into this still, and I just love that one.
Okay, and then just as an additional thing, like, so we know your favorite of the films. Mm-hmm. Who was your favorite Peter Parker? Was it Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and I'm not going to throw in Tom Holland, because we're going to do a before and after kind of thing. So before that, Garfield or Maguire, who was the better Parker for you?
That's real tough. That's a little tougher because I like Andrew Garfield. I think he brought some good qualities to the role. It's sort of like depends on what kind of aspect of Peter Parker you're looking for. I'm gonna check it out and take the safe route here, but it's sort of like, well, if you kind of want the awkward nerdy Peter, then Tobey's your man. If you want the kind of genius scientist brilliant Peter, then Andrew Garfield's your man, as well as just sort of the kind of yeah, hey, I'm friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Hey, hey, Rhino. Just throwing out random examples here. Like, hey, yeah. Rhino, you couldn't hit a broadside of a barn. Whoa, spider sense is tingling. So just something like that. So I guess you could say it's a bit of a tie between Garfield and Maguire here.
Okay. For me, so where I was actually standing was, I have problems with both the Webb and the Raimi films. So I'm not even going to say, like, I like the entire trilogy or the entire arc. Really, unfortunately, I'm going to surprise you a little bit, but the one I'm going to give it to is Raimi, but I'm only going to give it to him for Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, for the longest time, in my opinion, was the best Spider-Man movie we had. I love the plot line that they tried to go with. I loved, I can't remember his name, but the guy who played Dr. Octopus,
Alfred Molina.
I thought he did a really great job.
I love Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus.
It was the one that was the one movie where I didn't want to strangle Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. And so I'm not going to say like the entire Raimi trilogy because I had problems with the first film. The second one I have problems with, but I'll still say it's the superior one of them. And then 3 is its own
mess,
yes. And and I kind of agree with your statement on Peter, which is, except I'm going to say different aspects. With Tobey Maguire, I think you got more of the serious Peter Parker, because both of them had no problem being smart. Okay, they had no problem being the awkward geek. They really didn't. But if you wanted the more serious, brooding Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire was your guy. And if you wanted the happy-go-lucky, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield was your guy. Because, in my opinion, all the jokes that Tobey ever tried to do fell freaking flat. But
you cannot tell me you did not laugh at "That's a cute elephant." Did your husband make that to you?
Which movie was that?
That was the first one where he was going up against Randy Savage.
Well, that answers your question now, doesn't it? Because I completely forgot that line happened.
How did you forget that?
Tobey's delivery and frankly, Randy Savage was much more hilarious in that whole thing.
With as much times as you quote Randy Savage on Dragon Shadow, oh yeah!
Rest in peace, Macho Man. Because the Macho Man voice is fun to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you wanted the serious, brooding Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire was the way to go. If you wanted the lighter, more happy-go-lucky, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that a lot of us followed in the comics, then Andrew was your guy. Especially with the way that they were written too. Is like I'm not saying that's Tobey's fault. They were literally written with very few jokes in between. There were some nice lines at some points in those movies, but when you look at Amazing Spider-Man versus Spider-Man, there was a lot more humor interjected into Amazing Spider-Man than there was the first movie.
No, the first movie was way more heavy.
I am going to disagree with you, my friend. Because Tobey could not pull it off. The only time that I thought he was remotely funny, he wasn't even trying to be funny. He was trying to save his ass when Flash was trying to beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, which
that
is
was
funny.
The only. But that wasn't a funny moment. That was not Peter being snarky. No. That was Peter going, I'm trying to save my ass right now.
I agree. It's not much for the snark, but the movie still has the first movie. Not too much the second, but the first movie still has a lot of humor in it.
Again, I'm going to disagree because a lot of the moments
You
in the
need
movie,
to watch the movie again.
a lot of the moments that I found are funny are not supposed to be funny.
You're laughing. Go, Webb, go.
I laughed at that. I'll admit I laughed at that. But see, here's the thing. The funniest things that came out of the first movie for me, that scene with Flash Thompson, which is not supposed to be funny because it's a bully beating up on a kid.
But it is meant to be kind of funny, I think. We're getting off track. We're arguing too much about.
And then also the schizo Green Goblin, but that's not supposed to be funny because that's supposed to make you think he's evil. And unfortunately, Willem Dafoe just hammed it up.
And that's why Willem Dafoe is awesome. But I still love the way Honest Trailers calls him Will.I.am Dafoe.
Will.I.am Dafoe. Well, we might be changing our tune because remember, he is Ryuk in the upcoming Death Note TV series.
I'm
so.
not going to watch it, though.
Oh, you are. No. Come on, it's Willem Dafoe. You're going to watch clips.
Watch clips, yeah.
So at that point, that's what we're walking in. Now, for an after, how did Homecoming change that equation for you?
Tom Holland...
Well, we'll get to Tom Holland in a second.
Oh, well... what do you mean change, then?
So, like, are you still, like, a hardcore follower of the Raimi films, or did this change your mind and say... it's either a close second or it's better.
I'm still in the Raimi camp here, which is sad, a little bit sad. I had high hopes for this movie, but at the end, and we'll get that to when we get to our criticisms, but I still think I much prefer the original two movies.
Okay, and then so for me, well, we'll get to me in a second. So Tom Holland compared to Toby and Andrew.
Tom Holland, I think he just feels a bit more... He's a fine actor, and he did fine in the role, but I think he feels a lot like Andrew Garfield did to me. It's just kind of Peter Parker, super genius, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, take two here.
Okay. For me, Homecoming... Is it better than Spider-Man 2? No. But compared to some of the other stuff I've seen... I would definitely hold Homecoming over the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I really would. I think this was a much better attempt at trying to bring in a Spider-Man villain. And I mean, and here's the other advantage there is, you know, one of the things we've said numerous times, especially in Amazing Spider-Man 2, is bringing in multiple villains is a problem. But this one did it. This one potentially did because it had two Spider-Man villains, and basically what it did was it stepped one down to a henchman, and that's fine. I was okay with that. Yeah. So I will definitely hold this above the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I will also hold it above Spider-Man 1 and 3, but it's not like it's a close second. This is still a divide as far as I'm concerned. Spider-Man 2 is still the better film. But I would then put this as a distant second. Tom Holland compared to the other two. I would not call him Garfield because Garfield, I think they knew when writing to pull back the jokes, and this one I don't think they got that memo.
Yeah. But that's not on the act. That's not a comparison of actors. That's a comparison of writing.
Yeah, that's a comparison of writing. I would actually say he's a fusion of the two because he got the humor elements really well. He had some really nice puns here and there in the movie, but considering that like part of the writing here was to make him serious and to make him see the seriousness of his actions, he pulled those scenes off pretty damn well too. And I'd actually say he pulled them off better than Toby. Because there were a couple of moments in those Spider-Man films that I didn't see the pressure in Toby's face, but I saw it in Tom's. So I'll say that he's a happy in the middle for me. He's a happy in the middle. I would definitely want to see another movie with him again. Unlike what happened with me with Toby and Andrew, which is like, well, I'm going to go see this movie for the villain, not necessarily for Spider-Man. This one I'd actually go and see for Peter. And I would be okay with it. So there you go. There's the comparisons first. Now let's actually get into the nitty-gritty here. You see where it is in the Spider-Man films. Was this a good movie or was this a bad movie?
I'd say it was an okay movie.
Okay.
Should I go into the positives then?
Well, let's just kind of give at least our viewpoint. So you think it's okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's above average. Is it the greatest that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has delivered? No, but here's the thing. I've seen a lot of arguments saying that the first Iron Man and the first Captain America aren't that great. So I would actually say that this is kind of that way too. Is that it's got a good origin story somewhat, because it's not necessarily an origin story. It's basically saying we're gonna throw out the origin because the origin happened in Civil War, and go on from there, kind of thing. So I don't necessarily. I think it's above average, considering. Is it the best origin that we've seen in a while? No, Doctor Strange would be that, but. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm standing on it. It's like a C bordering on a B kind of movie. And with that, let's get into the positives here. So, what did we like about Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Definitely Michael Keaton. What is he, the Vulture in this?
He's the Vulture.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't remember the Vulture very well. That's why it's hard.
That's okay. Not even the comic fans remember the Vulture very well.
Okay. So yeah.
Hey, Jim, who's claiming that he read the comics for like 6 billion years. You don't know the Vulture very well.
Yeah, Jim. Who?
No, stop. Betty, stop it. Stop it. Vulture is like C or D villain for Spider-Man, okay? I saw you. Okay, alright, I'm good.
Yeah, I like Michael Keaton. I find it amusing that, hey, once upon a time, this was Batman. Now he's Vulture. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would definitely say he's one of the positives. I especially like the origin that they did where he worked for a construction company that came in to clean up after the New York attack for the Avengers, and then because they forgot to turn in some alien tech, he decided to, well, go into business for himself. Because you know what? That's actually a really decent Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. plotline, so I like that idea, and it makes sense, especially since I believe the origin of the Vulture in the comics is he's supposed to be yet another wealthy businessman of New York. So, yeah, this guy would be, he's an armament dealer, but he's wealthy as crap.
Yeah.
So, and I'll agree with you. Like, Michael Keaton's performance sells this movie.
Because Keaton's just a great actor overall.
Yeah. It actually makes me really sad that we didn't get too many interactions between Tom Holland and him, because it would have actually been really cool for him to have that one argument with Peter about 2 other times.
Yeah.
Just to kind of establish him. So yeah, I'll agree with you. I think Michael Keaton sells this film. Other positives.
Other positives. I liked the redesigned suit, actually, more than I think I liked it in Civil War. Maybe because it makes a little more sense now. It's like, well, in Civil War, it's like, oh, all of a sudden he's got this weird suit and his eyes move. Oh, okay.
But then they justified it with you by saying the original one did that too.
Yeah, because it makes more sense because it's mechanical. It's designed by Tony Stark, so the suit's grown on me a bit better. I always let me stress though that my complaints about the outfit before were just a little nitpick. It wasn't like I was gonna like.
It was the eyes.
Yeah, it was a nitpick though. I wasn't gonna like. They changed the suit, ruined forever.
Oh my gosh, his eyes move!
I wasn't gonna go that crazy. I was just like, oh, I don't like that. That's kind of weird. Creepy.
Yeah, and even I explained it to you. You kind of didn't buy it still, but I was like, yeah, they did actually have to create this expressive mask in the comics because he would still do the eye movements here and there.
Right.
And so you had to explain why with a ski mask that happened. And I actually think they explained it pretty well. It was like Tony made lenses out of it. So
that makes sense.
I was okay with it.
So that makes sense to me. So I'll buy that.
Shall we officially call the suit Karen?
Karen, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Karen suit. That's actually what I was saying in the theaters. I'm like, give Karen back. Just give Karen back. Because we know we all want Peter to have Karen back. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the Spidey suit is called Karen now.
Yes.
Okay, other positives.
Other positives. Some good action sequences overall. I like I like the thing at the monument. I liked Peter's on the plane. It's nice to see a Marvel movie that doesn't have to resort to sky portals again.
But it did result to portals.
Portals, yes, but not sky portals.
But not sky portals. Yes.
No, it's just kind of nice to see a movie where the action can be kind of contained to one set of characters and not have to be yet another world-changing event. Save that for the Avengers. Save that for the big team-up movies.
I'll agree with you on that, because, I mean, some of the bigger highlights for action scenes in this film were pretty contained, and you knew the cast of characters you were dealing with. So, like, the ATM robbery, you knew what you were dealing with. You were dealing with Bandit 1, Bandit 2, Bandit 3, Bandit 4, and then Spider-Man. And it was cool to actually see, like, the camera footage where he was bouncing back and forth and taking them all out.
Yeah, and when he's buried beneath all the rubble, like the warehouse, and he lifts up with all his might and gets out of all that stuff, and it's like, that's such a good scene.
See, and to me, that's actually like one of the better selling points of Tom Holland as Spider-Man compared to Andrew and compared to Tobey. Because maybe this is a fault of the writing, but they were never really put into those kinds of situations.
What about the train, though?
I'm saying individual situations, not with people in peril.
Oh, right.
And so I like that idea of, like, having Spider-Man eventually, like, meet his end and having to rise above what he knows himself to do.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. When you have bystanders, you'll do it. Like, you have that motivation. But what happens when you've met your own end? Like, do you give up or do you stand up?
Yeah.
And that's to me, that sells Tom a little bit better than the other two.
Yeah. And I found this really amusing, was, like, all the, like, Captain America educational videos.
Yeah, those were amazing. And it was in the original cloth costume. Yeah. I'm Captain America, and I know your body's changing. I know. Trust me, I know.
I mean, he probably did those before, but I still like to think that that's part of his, like, probation now.
Well, but that was the other thing.
Post-Civil War, that's, like, part of his probation.
Well, he's off the radar as of Civil War, but
yeah, so
I especially love when the coach came out. He's like, well, he's a war criminal now, so I don't know if we should be taking his opinion. Anyway, moving on. I thought that was a nice little brush off, considering he is a criminal as far as anybody's concerned. He's gone rogue. But yeah, those instruction videos were great, because Steve would do it. Steve would do it.
Yeah.
And you also know that he cringed when he saw that cloth costume. He's like, "You kept it?" Yeah, Agent Coulson had it. Coulson, So other positives for it.
Other positives. I had it in my head for a moment. It's kind of. I'm trying to think. Oh, damn it. I had something, and now I can't remember.
Okay, I'll go in my positives while you think about it. I agree with you. Michael Keaton is a selling point of this film. I've not seen enough stuff with Michael Keaton in it, and so I will admit he's one of the better moments, especially near the end when we get him revealed to be the love interest's father. That was actually a really cool reveal. And all of a sudden you're walking into... So instead of the house where you had the party, now it's the den of the beast kind of thing. I especially loved... And I actually I'll admit I was taking notes when he was brandishing the kitchen knife while talking to him. Because, dude, that had two levels of horror for me. One, he's the villain. And two, I should do that when my daughter goes to prom. He was like... Because that knife just became an extension. He's like, what's got you afraid, Peter?
I'm so nervous, Peter.
Why so serious? So yeah, I'll agree with you. Michael Keaton is a selling point of this film. I will also hand a little bit over to Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr., because here's the thing, like, if people were expecting Tony Stark to be a mentor... Then you were going to the wrong movie, because, I mean, if I was going to pick a mentor in the Marvel Universe, I'd pick Steve Rogers. I would not pick Tony Stark, man.
Well, it's kind of, that's not going to happen. He did steal his shield away.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're expecting that mentor figure, that supporting role, Tony ain't it.
Well,
Tony has enough problem getting his own shit together.
True, but it's not like I'm going to get Matt Murdock anytime soon.
Well, Matt wouldn't be a good one either. Matt's got brooding issues too.
Kind of is in the comics, isn't he? Doesn't Daredevil kind of become a sort of confidant for Peter?
Yeah, but the popular Daredevil comics are the ones where he's brooding, and he's bordering on hero and villain.
Well,
So
we're not worried about what Frank Miller's up to, but...
Well, but that's the sad part, is like the best Daredevil comics that have been written in the last while were Frank Miller, you know? That makes his descent into insanity all the weirder. No, I mean, like, if you wanted the moral character, you'd go with Steve. Steve is that guy. And guys, don't bring up to me the most recent comic decisions with him. I don't care. It's so stupid. It's a flagrant example of how Marvel just doesn't get it anymore. And really how media doesn't get it anymore. So for all the people who are going to bring up, well, he's a Hydra agent now. This is why I don't read Marvel anymore. It really is. So, yeah, but here's the thing. That's why I like Tony in this role, is like, he's not the mentor. And he sucks at it, and I'm okay with that, because he plays it off really, really well. And when he gets mad, he gets legitimately mad at Peter, and not in the mentor kind of where he's like, "Oh, son, I'll get you some ice cream later." No, he's like, "Give me the damn suit, you're done."
Kind of mentor gives you, "Oh, I'll get you some ice cream later."
Well, yeah, I wasn't really going for the word cleaver, but I'm just like, you know. But he's not the mentor figure. He's not. I especially loved when he was trying to do that, and he kept on bringing up his dad, because his dad wasn't a mentor, so he has no education on this whatsoever. And
so my dad never complimented me. I'm just trying to break the cycle of shame.
Or even better, the call that came in, it was just like, "I saw what you did at the Washington Monument, and my dad never complimented me on this, so I thought I'd call you and give you a good old attaboy." And then got hung up on. I'm pretty sure he appreciated that. But yeah, that's why I like... Robert Downey Jr. continues to amaze me with what he is doing with the character.
Yeah, all this is gone.
Yeah, because eventually he's got to leave, and so does Steve, or so does Chris, and all of them. But he's been really good so far. Before people start giving him crap. I mean, there's a reason he's earning those paychecks. So yeah, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr.
Jon Favreau is back as Happy.
I never thought I'd see the day. I thought they were done with him. Because here's the thing, it's been such a gap.
Yeah.
Since he showed up, I'm like, does John just not want to do these anymore? And it was kind of cool to have him come back.
Even in the Iron Man movies, he was just kind of reduced to a background extra.
Yeah, but he never came back. Like, after... Because I want to say, like, the last time we saw him was Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2.
I want to say it was at least in 3. Just, again, background. Just kind of like, I'm the bodyguard. I'm here.
I'll take your word for it, but I'm combing my memory. I'm not seeing him.
I don't remember either. It's been a while since I've watched.
Yeah, I honestly think it was Iron Man 2, but maybe Avengers.
Maybe, yeah.
Since we saw him. So I love the fact that they did that. I especially love the scene with the bathroom. That was great. He's like, "You guys have saved my butt. You have no idea what it is like to take care of Tony." Flush, and just 6 minutes of awkward silence. I'd like to think that Jon Favreau actually directed that scene.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it? So I'll at least give you that, but that and the story. The story here was really good.
Yeah, and speaking of, because Jon Favreau was also Foggy in the original Daredevil movie.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So. And
sadly, the Netflix guy who plays Foggy blew his performance out of the water. I love you, Jon Favreau, but I like the Netflix Daredevil Foggy better, because we get, part of it is just because we get more screen time with Foggy. So we love you. We love you though still, Jon Favreau. But yeah, the overall story, I liked how they set up the villain. I like how they set up the stakes here for Peter, where he was trying to get noticed by the Avengers, and when he gets assertive, he gets some stuff done, but then eventually we have that one moment where he took it too far and he involved way too many civilians, and then we get to have that moment of he is legit. It actually, in my opinion, kind of mirrors Spider-Man 2, where Peter decides to take off the suit and everything starts going well for him in his life again. That's kind of what happened here. But eventually Peter realizes that, there are important things and sometimes you have to make the hard choices.
Yeah, and he has to run out on his date at homecoming and...
Yeah, and basically tell her he's not right for her. I thought that was a really brave choice to be able to do.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool scene, especially when he just starts running down the hallway,
I will
ripping
also...
off the tie, opening the shirt, grabbing his stuff, and running up and just going.
That was actually really cool. He picked up the locker section.
Yeah.
That's where his secret stash was.
I like that. That's so cool.
I love the fact that he was making the web fluid in his chemistry class. That was pretty cool. But I will say the one thing that I think helps the story so much more is the fact that I believe, and you can disagree with me all you want, but the line got abused in every stinking movie.
Great power comes with responsibility.
Yes, the Raimi films abused it, and the Mark Webb movies abused it.
Not really. They didn't even.
They did. They really did, because
they didn't do it in Mark Webb. It was just no.
Martin Sheen says it.
No, he doesn't. That was kind of my problem with the original. Well, not the original. With the Amazing Spider-Man is Martin Sheen just kind of is ungracefully killed off screen.
Okay, I will go back and watch those movies again because I know that was a theme at one point.
It's like they tap dance around it. They don't say the actual line. It's just like I just remember, Peter listening to the last voicemail that he got from Uncle Ben before Ben is killed off screen. It's like, Peter, I know you're going through some hard times right now. I don't remember everything, but I remember that the Webb films never did the great power and great responsibility. The Raimi films, yes. The Raimi films hammered it in.
But this one didn't mention it at all. In fact, I would actually dare say
which is nice.
It made it look like Peter came to that conclusion on his own. And so at that point, I'm glad that we didn't have that hammered in, and I'm glad that this is not just something... And guys, I know it's a betrayal of the comics because Ben taught the lesson, but I like the fact that Peter kind of learns the lesson on his own in this movie. I would actually dare say the moment he comes to that realization is when he's under the rubble.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the water and he's seeing the duality of himself. He's seeing the Spider-Man mask and he's seeing his face. And he realizes, I can't be one without the other kind of thing. So I like the fact that this movie didn't really stick to that theme, but in the end came to that moral. So I was happy with that. And that's all the positives really I'm thinking of.
Yeah, another great Michael Keaton moment. It's the post-credits scene where he's being walked through prison, comes face to face. I don't know if they ever gave the guy a name. I don't
think they did, but
I don't know the actor's name. I just know him as he's Nacho in Better Call Saul. That's where I recognize him from.
And they were kind of setting him up to be a
villain.
Yeah. Actually, no, I have another positive, and that is the fact that we got 2 villains in this movie. But what they did in order to be able to get that second villain is what every other movie should have done at that point: make them a henchman. So they made Vulture the big nasty, and then they also had Shocker in this, and he was the little nasty. He was the henchman who was just trying to earn a buck kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And
the way that you knew that was they already had one Shocker. He gets murdered, and then he's like, "Oh, you're in the new Shocker." Because at that point, it's like you are not going any higher on this food chain than this. And I like the fact that they downgraded. Because here's the thing: we could have had a movie where Spotlight was on both Shocker and Vulture, and it wouldn't have worked. So I'm glad that they did that.
We would have definitely gotten Amazing Spider-Man 2 again if we tried doing the whole double villain.
Hell, we would have gotten Spider-Man 3 again. Because that's where the problem began, is in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Spider-Man... I'm trying to think. It was just Hobgoblin because Harry Osborn.
Sandman, Hobgoblin, Venom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's because they did this. They really had to rush the symbiote story with that one.
They did.
That was a
and
mistake.
It sucked.
Yeah.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2, you had Electro, but you also had Electro, you had
Green Goblin again.
Green Golem, because he went insane, and then you had the whole Rhino deal, plus the hint of the Sinister Six movie kind of thing. So I like the fact that Vulture was the featured villain. He was the guy that we saw so much on, and then eventually they just subtly brought in Shocker.
Yeah, and I think they were kind of trying to do this before Raimi kind of got meddled out by the studio by Spider-Man 3, because Dr. Connors was very prominent in 2 and 3. He hadn't become the Lizard at that point, but they'd introduced the character, they'd set him up. So that's kind of what I feel like they're doing here, is they're setting up the character of Electro, but still making sure the spotlight stays on.
You mean Shocker?
Shocker, sorry.
Yeah.
They make sure the spotlight stays on Vulture here.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing too, is that eventually Shocker gets beat, I believe, or maybe he was on the lam at that point.
Maybe.
But yeah, I agree with that. That's another positive. So go on.
Yeah, I think that's about it for my positives.
All right, so let's get into the negatives here. What did this movie do wrong?
Okay, as much as I like seeing Tony Stark in this and seeing Tony wanting to rein in Spider-Man, I can't help but say, this is kind of all your fault, stupid. Because you're the one who... You did.
Trust me, you're not the only one that's ever said that to Tony Stark.
And it'd be understandable if, Tony said, look, this is my dumb fault, but he doesn't say that. And...
He's never going to!
True, he's too much of an ego for that. But,
yeah, exactly! That's why I love it.
But it's well, okay, if you didn't want Peter to go beyond just taking down some hoodlums and, being around the neighborhood, well, you shouldn't have had him get in the middle of your fight between you and 6 other Avengers.
Well, that, and you shouldn't have let him keep the suit.
Yeah.
Okay? I think that's more of the problem here, is that he should not have been in this suit 80% of the time. He should have been in the original one. Because if Tony was playing that right, that was still Stark technology. Why on earth would he let Stark technology be in a place where he couldn't observe it? Kind of thing.
Well,
and for all the people who are going to scream at me going, he was keeping tabs. Really? Was Happy keeping tabs? Happy didn't give a crap.
Because he kept bugging Happy.
This is true.
Happy wasn't very happy.
Happy was not very happy. But yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is this was a piece of Stark technology that could have easily gone into the wrong hands. I mean, you could technically say it was in the wrong hands with Peter when he unlocked all the features in the suit, as well as took out the tracker.
That's true, because it's come on, you had to figure... He's a smart kid, he's going to figure that out.
Well, what's step 1 of going rogue? Making sure nobody can track you.
Yeah.
That should be your first warning sign. Oh, yeah, Tony, the tracker on the suit doesn't work anymore. Have you called him? Yeah, he's not answering. I'm coming. That's how you should answer that.
Yep.
So Tony was 1.
Yeah, as much as I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, and I think he did, and he still had some good moments, but it was just sort of you kind of made this is kind of your problem, this is kind of your fault, so other negatives, I'd say...
For me, I'm just yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah.
I'm a Tony Stark fan. I'm okay with this. I mean, if you... Look, before people throw this back at me, 80% of all Batman villains are essentially Batman's fault. Okay? So, if you have a problem with that, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's great storytelling. That's why I don't have a problem with Tony. Because this is what you expect.
Anyway, a lot of also the high school stuff dragged it down so much. I just don't want to see Peter in high school again. I don't care. There's this whole... I know that's his origin, essentially, as comics go. He was a high school student. That was, pretty groundbreaking for, the 60s, because superheroes weren't usually teenagers. Sidekicks were. But when I think of Spider-Man, I'm just so familiar with Peter Parker, adult, photographer for Daily Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson! Give me Spider-Man!
Yeah, I missed him
I'm
today.
gonna miss J.K. Simmons so much.
I missed him.
So it's just...
He's up being Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, he's gonna... with the mustache.
Mustache.
He got that stash. So... it's just like, I did not like any of the high school bits. The friend was off and on, bordering between annoying and funny, and I didn't like the whole. I didn't like the character.
Hot Aunt May.
Yeah, hot at me. I didn't like what they've composited with MJ here, because MJ seems like a composite of a couple. I don't know if she's a composite.
Well,
here.
let's just be honest on that one.
character.
The last minute reveal that was MJ
Was so stupid.
was idiotic.
I thought it was, well, when I first saw Liz, I thought that was MJ. Because I just...
Yeah, because I believe like some of the commercials like said, yeah, that's the MJ commercial kind of thing. And that's when the controversy came in. But yeah, the reveal itself was idiotic.
Yeah. Plus, I don't like her character. It's like, I've seen this character before. And
Well, because first, what was her actual name? Michelle?
Michelle.
It's Mary Jane, people.
Yeah, Mary Jane. How do you fuck that up? Come
Also,
on. That's
not the same character.
It's like, you want to change the character's race, fine, whatever. But come on, stick to the name at least. What next? You're gonna rename Peter Parker Schmeeder Schmarker?
That's not even my problem with it. Is that you throw this out and you immediately expect us to go, oh my gosh, that's Mary Jane. When we know it isn't!
Yeah, there's no indication that's Mary Jane.
When we know it isn't, because she's already a way different character than MJ was, whether it be in the movies, or in the TV series, or even in the comics!
Yeah.
It's not the same character! And so at that point, it's like, what? And on top of that, it isn't Mary Jane, it's Michelle Jane, I guess, now. And also, you established her as this other character, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're supposed to call her MJ now.
Yeah.
We're not gonna call her that.
Yeah, it's not MJ. It's like, who is this? I don't know.
I get what they were trying to do, which was like what the TV show tried to do, which is like, because if you've seen like the first episodes of the Fox series, he was dreading meeting Mary Jane Watson because he's like, oh no, she was ugly back when I was a teenager, and all of a sudden they do the reveal like 5 episodes later where she's hot. That's what they were doing here.
Wow, it's been so long.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, and her character's so stupid too. It's just, I've seen this character.
She's the insert rebel here of your high school.
Yeah, she's like. She is that.
At that point, Kirsten Dunst is more accurate.
She's like, I want to say Jessie from Saved by the Bell. This is like watching Saved by the Bell Spider-Man edition.
So
the high school scenes are so lame. I really don't want. And how much do you want to bet by Spider-Man Homecoming 2, we're going to be out of high school, just like Amazing Spider-Man 2, Peter was out of high school.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so it's just like, what's even the point then? It's like, high school's fleeting. It'll be done in 3 years. It's really not that. I know you want to make Peter like the outcast, nerdy, sympathetic, but you know what? I connected more.
You can do that without the high school atmosphere.
Yes, as a lowly 7th grader, when the first Spider-Man came out, I think I was 7th, I might have been 8th grade by then, but as a lowly 7th, 8th grader, middle school student, I connected better to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man than I've ever connected with Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This is not a fault on the acting. This is just way in terms of general setting and general way they portray this character.
See, and I would actually disagree with you, because I would actually say the whole high school thing for both never worked out. They just felt tacked on.
It wasn't, yeah, but it's not because of the high school that I connected with Peter. It was the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
right?
But you could have put that easily in a different setting.
Right.
That thing.
That's what I mean with the original. It's not like the high school was nice because that just set him up, but then he's done, and then he's out in the real world and he's working for the Daily Bugle.
Because I would actually dare say that's what Spider-Man 2 did well. Is like he was geeky dude in New York.
Yeah, but that was most of only like the first half an hour, 20 minutes of Spider-Man 1 did the school thing. After that, he was out. He was graduated. And he was working for the Daily Bugle. That's the Spider-Man I'm familiar with, is Peter Parker, photographer for Daily Bugle. I don't care that he's a high school student anymore.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, because the high school stuff was really tacked on. And in fact, I don't even think he was supposed to be in high school, because he was 14, wasn't he? So he's supposed to be in middle school right now.
14 would be about 9th grade, so that would be about freshman high school.
So let's say bordering. Let's say 9th grade, but like the way that you and I did 9th grade that was still middle school, it wasn't high school.
Technically, it was high school. I don't know where you went to middle school, but did we go to the same middle school?
I think you did.
Okay, because our school system was a little weird because our 9th grade year was still at our middle school, even though we were considered high school freshmen.
So at that point, like, you could easily make the argument that, like, he hasn't even hit high school yet.
Yeah, but he's high school, so.
But I agree with you. The setting didn't work.
Yeah.
It only exacerbated the problems of, we get it, Peter's an awkward geek. We didn't need this high school setting to tell us that.
Yeah, and you're trying to convince me that Flash Thompson the bully is also a smart academic decathlon nerd. Come on.
Jeez, the Fox series was more... Well, no, the first movie was more accurate because he was a fucking jock. Pardon my French.
Yeah, I hate to go for the whole dumb jock is the bully cliche of high school, but generally that's kind of it. The bullies aren't going to be in your same social clique.
Yeah.
I almost...
the second I saw Flash Thompson in the academic decathlon, I was like, well, this is inaccurate.
Yeah, I'm like, I could almost see like Eddie Brock. I know that's probably a stretch, but because Eddie Brock, a lot of his deal is he's envious of Peter, isn't he?
But he was like the smart jock.
Yeah.
So at that point, it kind of makes sense.
So I could have seen.
So he would have been like debate club guy or business club guy.
I could have seen like if it was Eddie Brock in that role, but Flash, and it's like, what kind of academic decathlon team also picks on your teammates?
Yeah.
Like, come on, you're in the same club.
And to add on to that, he wasn't picking on him. He was taking out his frustrations on him.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing I have a problem with is that he wasn't picking on him because Peter was getting picked above him. And immediately, like, he loses his decathlon spot the second Peter says, I'm going. And the real only thing that he's holding over Peter's head is, I'm rich, you're not, with the car. And so we had to deal with the whole Penis Parker thing, and it's just like, wait, technically, Peter should be your bully. Because he's higher up on the food chain than you are.
Yeah.
So this isn't even a selling point
this
now.
This doesn't work. It's like if they were trying to make Flash jealous. I didn't get that vibe.
Yeah.
He just came
off as an asshole.
Yeah.
I know I'm cursing a lot, guys, but that's just where I'm at right now.
I mean, Flash should be an asshole, I guess, but
he should. But
he's not even the right kind of asshole. You don't pick on club members.
Yeah, he should, but they didn't take the right approach with it.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been interested in the decathlon. He shouldn't have been interested in academics at all. He should have been the jock. Because that's what you were going for.
Yeah.
We have to do this modern school setting. Guys, jocks still exist.
That's not even... I wouldn't even call that a modern school setting. Because that was bullshit.
Yeah.
All of that. And... Because... Look, it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but I remember I was in a few clubs here and there. But I certainly remember within my clubs we didn't usually pick on each other like that.
No,
we might, maybe we'd rail each other a little bit, or all in good fun. But we wouldn't
Also, our teachers wouldn't have been submissive as.
Yeah, we wouldn't be like Penis Parker.
I literally looked at that teacher, I'm like, literally, are you just that afraid of a microaggression or whatever?
Teacher's a dumbass, yeah.
Then you shouldn't be working here! Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the high school setting just didn't work. It more exacerbated the problems of the movie, in my opinion, which I maybe we'll just bounce back and forth. My negative was frickin' Ned. Ned drove me nuts throughout most of that damn movie, and all of it was just like, oh, wow, we should have just inserted what's-his-bucket, Galifianakis,
Zach Galifianakis,
as this character, because that's who this guy was playing. And so, there was not one point where that kid was just not nails on a chalkboard to me.
He was annoying. He got really old
and,
after a while.
And his reason to be there was to be the comic relief friend. And he sucked at it!
Like, this movie needed more comic relief. It was so packed full of jokes that weren't funny.
Jiminy Christmas, can I have, what's his name? Return to Oz. He was Harry.
Oh, James Franco.
Can I have James Franco back, please? Because at least he could play the friend better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ned drove me nuts. MJ drove me nuts through most of it. And the reveal just made me slap my forehead even harder. I'm not gonna fault Liz because the Liz character needed to be there for Peter. If you're gonna put him in that setting or any setting, the socially awkward geek has to have somebody to pine over. That's how a lot of Peter's love interests come into play.
I'd say you got a point, but then I almost say maybe you should have just made it Felicia Hardy instead.
Or not even Felicia Hardy. There's been a number of others. Or Gwen Stacy could have been another.
Yeah, just somebody from the canon that we're not just going to put on a bus at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and they failed in that regard because they made her random girl. And that was the other one that threw me off. Is like, this is Popular Girl who's doing Homecoming, but she also is the captain of the academic decathlon. I don't know whose agenda this girl's is, but that would kill me.
Okay, that I can see, because even I went to Homecoming.
There's no, if you're doing Homecoming, if you're doing academic decathlon, if you're doing all this other stuff, there's no way you're an honor student. I'm sorry, but your time is getting way too spread thin.
That's true, yeah.
So realism, people. Realism.
Yeah.
I know Stan Lee has a problem with that, but you know what? I would actually say his cameo had more realism in this movie than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were so many problems. The only thing I got out of the high school setting was the coach. The coach was funny, and for no other reason than he's like, "Well, he's a war criminal now, so get to work."
Yeah. And the Steve Rogers bits.
The Steve Rogers bits were pretty damn funny.
Trust me, I've been frozen for 60 years.
I've been frozen for 65 years. You think your body's changing? Ha, I know where you've been. So and I will say the one thing that really nailed it for me with Ned was, okay, let's go off of this concept. You've just barely found out your friend is Spider-Man. You do not ask him questions in public! I don't care how much of an idiot you are. I don't care how much of a secret you can't keep. You wait till after or at lunch break and you go, okay, I'm going to ask my 50 bajillion questions.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of class!
Not in the middle of class. I know you liked this, but I thought it was stupid. Peter, making the web solution in his class. I thought that was dumb, too.
I like the idea of it. How does a high school student make web fluid? Well, yeah, there you go.
This is why I'm more of a proponent of the natural web shooters that James Cameron came up with and Sam Raimi took.
Yeah, but then you go down the argument of the man spider. And,
the man spider.
The man spider.
The man spider!
This is actually one of those things where I kind of agree with you, but from a high school student's perspective, that's how I think that they would do it. Mm-hmm. I would be
then
more.
You do it after hours.
I would be more along the lines of Andrew Garfield, where yes, you do it after hours and you do it in your parents' shed, kind of thing. That makes a little bit more sense. But the fact that he was making it in class, it does make sense to a degree because he doesn't have access to volatile chemicals,
Yeah.
And if he asks, if he goes to his local hardware store and says, "I need these chemicals," well,
terrorist watch alert.
Terrorist watch alert. So it made sense. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and use the school stuff to make my web fluid." And even better was, again, the whole lifting the locker block for all of his web fluid needs and all of his costume needs.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it.
I'll give the movie, though, one bit that I really found funny was when he was running through the suburban neighborhood. So obviously he doesn't have places to shoot webs. And right as he's running through a bunch of houses, right on the TV is playing Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah. Another thing that I will also say is a negative, and this is actually going to go against Peter's motives. I do not like Peter's motives the first half of the movie. And the reason I don't is because in the comics, Peter has always been a reluctant member of the Avengers. He always wants to be solo. He wants to do things on his own terms. And I did not like the whole concept of, can Cap call me back? Can Tony 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 call me back? Happy! Happy, are you there? Happy! It's Peter Parker! Peter Parker!
Okay, I gotta edit this, You're gonna be peeking, like, terribly.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. But yeah, that bothered me because I like it when Peter is the reluctant member. Where he's being snarky to everybody there, but he's there to help save the day just like they are. And I feel like we missed out on that a little bit because he was so eager to be there. And I get why, but it doesn't fall for me. And then I think we both need to have this in our negatives. Just hot Aunt May. Just, no.
Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
Just no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They had time.
He didn't even call her Aunt May. He called her May, so for all we know, she's her foster parent.
Well, come on. Even I don't call my aunts and uncles my aunt or uncle, so...
Yeah, but I got used to Aunt May in the comics and all that. And also, we need to talk about the reveal at the end, because when you bring up hot Aunt May... Well, guess who finds out next that he's Spider-Man?
That I was surprised by.
Seriously, Peter, learn to close a damn door. Well, actually, no, that was his problem with Ned. He closed the door and he was on the ceiling. But yeah, because it literally ended with, what the f... and went into the credits. I'm just like,
You're not satisfied about... You're not thrilled about her knowing?
I'm not thrilled about Hot Aunt May, period.
Right.
Look, if you didn't want to hire an elder... Okay, I will give...
They got Tyne Daly, though, for like 3 minutes.
They had Tyne Daly! She would have been Aunt May.
She should have been Aunt May. I have to agree. It's like, you got her for like 3 minutes in this movie.
You did. But here's the thing, like, I don't know the actresses' names off the top of my head that they got, but...
Marissa Tomei.
No. I'm saying in the Raimi films, they had the right Aunt May.
Rosemary Harris. Yeah.
Rosemary Harris, where she was like in her 60s and trying to get by.
And then Sally Field.
Sally Field, where I was willing to let that pass because it was a younger Ben and May. And so I was okay with it. It made more sense. Like, I get the whole elderly thing in the comics because that was done that way. But I liked how Amazing Spider-Man did that. This Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, just no. And every opportunity that they got to say, "Yep, she's hot," they did, because we had the sandwich guy who wanted her, saying she's a fine Italian woman, and then they went to the Thai restaurant and the person gave her a rice pudding for free. I was like, I get it. Hot Aunt May is hot. Just stop. This isn't funny.
Hot Aunt May is hot. It needs to be a motivational poster.
I have a feeling that now that we've both seen this, now I know why my older brother wanted comfort. Because now we just gotta go, I miss Aunt May.
Yeah. We gotta make this all edgy and hip for the millennial crowd. As much as I've come to... I despise...
Alex, hand me that hard object, would you?
There's lots of hard objects here.
I'm okay now!
Wow, you bent that. I didn't think you're actually going to hit yourself with it.
I wish I didn't have to, but...
I'm going to have to buy him one of those anti-stress kits you hang on the wall. Hit head here until stress goes away or until unconscious.
Head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Head on. So, yeah, those are really my negatives. The high school atmosphere just took so much away from this.
Yeah.
Really, the moments that I was having fun was when he was...
Spider-Man.
He was Spider-Man. I will say that the one point where it got a little old was when he was running in the suburban neighborhood to catch the truck.
Yeah. But I still loved the match against Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I still gotta laugh at that.
I like that. I also love the concept, like, the one thing you had as a problem was the eyes on the suit. And then he goes to see the two little girls camping out, and the suit, the thing starts twitching in half. That was pretty funny. But yeah, to me that segment ran a little long. There were a couple of things they could have cut out but didn't, and I get why, because there was nothing to web onto.
So, we better wrap up.
Yeah, we got to wrap things up. So there you go. All of the Spider-Man moments I was more interested in than this. And quick cover for me, Alex. Okay, so yeah, that's where we're standing on the negatives. I think we've listed them out, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, and already we're this is a huge video, so let's kind of wrap things up. So your final score for Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Final score would be a 7.
And your reason, like, why it's a solid C?
Yeah, it's just the jokes were cheesy a lot of the times, but not that kind of cheese that worked in the originals, and too much high school archetypes, too much tropes, but not even tropes that make sense. Just more Spider-Man, not enough. I want more Spider-Man, a little less Peter Parker, or at least make Peter at least interesting enough to warrant so much time as that out of the suit. And, just more gore, less Verbinski.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with you on this, because I really do think this is a solid C, maybe C+ kind of effort. And the main reason is because all of the good stuff was wrapped in too much filler to get there.
Yeah.
And the filler was the high school moments, like having to go to your first party and having to go to prom, and even though the prom reveal was really good.
Yeah, come on. This is like Disney Channel stuff.
Yeah, so like, and here's the thing, I love the reveal, but like we had to get through prom in order to get to that moment where he confronts the Vulture. And so it's those moments wrapped up in too much filler, and honestly, when I get this on DVD, because I will, I'm going to be fast forwarding through all the high school moments. I really am, because they're not what I care about. So we've answered that. We're both at a 7 out of 10. Where on the payment scale would you recommend for people to spend on Spider-Man: Homecoming? Does this film look like it'd be good in 3D? Because I actually would say it's probably one of the few in the Marvel Cinematic Universe I say wouldn't.
No, there's nothing here that warrants 3D. It's not that impressive, and
in fact, it's really funny because I think we were talking about this being like the luxury one, and we didn't do that.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out another movie to do that.
That'll probably be Star Wars.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is like, I think it would be like, if you're a Spider-Man fan, then you have no problem paying Prime Time. I'm going to recommend Matinee. Because here's the thing. When it comes to Spider-Man in film, the internet's just as divided as we are. And I've met people who absolutely love the Mark Webb movies, but hate the Raimi films. And the opposite. And so at that point, I think it's just a safer bet to go Matinee, so that way you're paying cheap, and if somebody's going to walk out pissed, at least they didn't spend a whole lot of money. But it is worth seeing, I think, in the theaters. Like with all Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, it's worth seeing in theaters at least once.
Yeah, I'd say so. It might be worth a theater screening. I'd say definitely Matinee. But if you really are still on the fence about this, especially if you're kind of burned out after several Spider-Man reboots, then wait for a rental.
Yeah, wait for DVD kind of thing. Because I think, in all honesty, if you wait for like $1, it's going to be way more worth it to you. Or even just wait for the dollar theater to get it. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us for Spider-Man: Homecoming. So thank you guys so much for watching. And when we rejoin you guys on our next vlog, we'll be talking war and the harshness of war.
Now war never changes.
As we head to Dunkirk, even though we've been told we should not go to Dunkirk.
We have?
Well, everybody gets told in the trailer not to go to Dunkirk. You'll die.
That's true.
Yeah. Wish us luck.